So you want to start by getting yourself some pieces of broomcorn. And this particular style of wreath is a really good way to use up your skimpy pieces that can't be used for much else because they're so small. Because we're putting them so thickly on the wreath, they work really nicely here.
So you'll start by taking a little wreath wire and tying it on to the wreath. Just wind the wire around itself around one of the loops. And then pull that underneath, and that will hide the twist on the back side of the wreath. Then take some of your broomcorn, a nice big bunch, and you just want to cut them off right under the heads. Then just lay them across the wreath form. And wind your wire tightly around them a couple of times. Then grab another bunch, cut them off under the heads, and lay those right over the wire you just wound. You want to make sure that the heads kind of fly off to the sides a little bit, and then wind your wreath around it again. And then you'll grab another bunch of broomcorn, cut it off under the heads, and wind it around the wreath with the wire. And then you'll just keep going all the way around the wreath, winding bunches of broomcorn heads onto the wreath form. When you get to the end, take a big bunch for your last bunch, get it as far under the first bunch as you can, moving the first bunch to the side so you have room. And then just wind it around tightly, making sure that you don't wind the first bunch in with it. You want to make sure the wire's under that first bunch. You have to hold it out of the way. So then just flip it over, cut off the excess wire, and then wind the end around the wreath form and around itself. Just want to wind it off good. Then the excess stems that are hanging out around the wreath, you just want to cut those off. And then take another small piece of wreath wire, wind it under the wreath form or another piece of wreath wire and twist it around itself. Then do the same thing a few inches over and twist it around itself, and that's going to serve as your wreath hanger. People just hang the wreath up by that. So then flip the wreath back over, and you'll have to adjust the broomcorn a little bit, especially right at the last part. You want to make sure that it fluffs back over the last section that you added on. So here's what it looks like. Then take yourself a piece of ribbon, twist it about a foot up from the end, then fold that around to make a loop, and twist it so that you get yourself a nice little loop there. Fold it again to make another loop on one side of the smaller loop, and twist it, and then fold it on the other side to make another loop, and twist it. So you have a little 2-loop bow. Then run a piece of wreath wire right through that center loop, and bring it down around under the other loops. And then you just want to twist it up nice and tight a couple of times. And then bring the tails of the ribbon together. Cut them off so they're even. You'll have to adjust your ribbon a little bit. And then you'll want to fasten it to your wreath. You want to put it on towards the beginning, whatever the scrawniest side of the wreath is, usually towards the beginning, because the ribbon will take up space and it'll even out the shape of the wreath. You just twist the wires and cut off the excess on the back side. So here's what you should have so far. And then get yourself some bunches of dried flowers. You just want to wind a little bit of yarn around them. You want to use yarn because the wreath wire might cut into the stems and cut off the heads, so just use yarn for this. And then you'll just attach those to the wreath with the excess yarn. You just kind of want to bury the yarn under the broomcorn stem so that you won't see it on the front side. And then just tie it off on the back side. And then put another bunch over on the other side, and then a bunch at the bottom. So this is what the wreath looks like. I don't really like this ribbon, but it was the only one I had at the moment. see-through ones don't look very good. But here is an older wreath that I did with a solid ribbon, and on this one I used acorns instead of dried flowers.